Hello, everyone. Welcome back. Today, I want to show you a slightly different version of the London. So there is the regular London system where white builds the pyramid most of the time. And then there is something called the Jobava London, named after Bahadur Jobava, a very, very strong Georgian grandmaster, very creative. This is the line which Eric played against me, Eric Rosen. Speaking of that, he made a video about that game, so check out his channel. It's one of his most recent videos. But at any rate, I decided to explore it a little bit. And one of the people who frequently plays the Jobava London line, which is a bishop f4 and knight c3, is Hans Niemann. He's the rising star of American chess. And we're going to look at a game he played against a strong grandmaster from Iceland a couple of months ago. So let's take a look. So Niemann with the white pieces, d4 knight f6, knight c3. Well, white would like to play e4, which is why usually black will stop it by playing g5. And yeah, computers don't love this, which is why I did not give this line too much thought. But white gets some very interesting attacking chances, as you will see. So bishop f4. So in some world, white can play this and combine over here. Black has to be very, very careful. But it's not a threat yet. So in this game, black plays the third main move. He plays pawn a6, which directly deals with this. He does not need to worry about it yet. For example, c5 is a perfectly good move. And the logic of c5 is white cannot play knight b5 yet, because black plays queen a5. Attacking the knight and the king, forcing the knight to go right back. Otherwise, the knight gets lost. But this is what I played against Eric, and Eric played e4, and we had all the fun until I decided to forget how chess works. At any rate, in this game, black plays a6, directly stopping knight b5. But now we get to see other ideas of the Jobava London. For the time being, Niemann simply plays e3, nothing special, allowing for this bishop to come out. And black decides to play in a fairly extreme fashion, gain more space with pawn b5, which is not terrible. One of the points, if we go back, one of the points is if black plays his regular bishop f5, this bishop sometimes will get chased around. For example, bishop f5, f3, with the idea to play g4, h4, and we get into a line which computers don't love, but on a human level it's very annoying to play against. This is why here black plays pawn b5. He doesn't want to bring the bishop out because it will get kicked, and he doesn't want to play e6 yet because then this bishop will not be very good. And Niemann expands with h4, even though black has not castled yet. And this is one of the common ideas for white, just gain a lot of space. Okay. Black plays, again, he doesn't want to do this because he gets chased around. So, black played pawn e6. Okay, reasonable. Niemann gains more space with g4. Black counterattacks on the queen side with c5. And Niemann plays pawn g5. Even more space. The knight is attacked. You can't go here because of the queen. Center is not very fun. So the knight retreats to d7. And Niemann, now that he expanded, plays bishop g2. Okay, that's a reasonable bishop. Black continues to improve his position for knight b6. Niemann plays knight f3. This is your typical London idea with the knight heading to e5. And Black decided to play knight c4, which seems to make sense. He attacks this pawn, and the point is either white plays rook b1, and then white cannot castle long. Notice white expanded here a lot, which means white probably does not want to castle short, or white plays b3, and this is what happened in the game, except Niemann calculated a little bit further. Because pawn b3 by white, queen a5, that was Black's point. When white played b3, he is no longer defending the knight, and Black said, okay, this is a lot of fun, I get to attack your knight. You don't have a very good way to defend it, because you can't go here with your queen, and well, if you go here with your queen, I can play knight b2, but Niemann simply castled. And now Black realized he's in trouble. For example, let's pretend he takes the knight. Well, now white will take this knight. And the problem for Black, if you notice, he does not have a single piece in the game, as the middle will explode, which it will. White's development is much, much, much better than Black's. So, for example, let's pretend Black takes this pawn. He can take with either of the pawns. He can take with the queen. Let's say he takes with the queen. Now knight e5. Tagging the queen. Queen has to move. Let's follow the computer line. Queen c3. And white just plays e4. And just throws everything. And even if queens get traded, let's pretend we get a queen trade. So we get takes. White takes here. For the time being, white is down a pawn, but again, white has really, really good pieces, and Black king is still in the middle. Even with queens gone, computer believes white is much, much better. If we go back, and let's say Black takes with the pawn instead, very similar idea by white, pawn e4, and just throw everything at Black and open things up. Let's go back. So Black decided not to take the knight, but his knight is attacked, so he saves it. Knight goes back to d6. And now Niemann finds a really nice move, and again, this game demonstrates how important it is to have a lead in development and to have a safe king compared to not such a safe king. Niemann throws away the knight. But why? Because he wants to open the position. Knight takes pawn, okay, we'll see why. Black takes back. Now pawn takes, at the same time open up the queen, and the same time attacking the knight. Okay, knight b7, saves the knight, makes sense. And Niemann doesn't rush to take this pawn, he doesn't need to, plays knight e5 first. He brings the knight closer to Black's position, and at the same time he opens up the bishop. There is still a queen. And yes, Black is up a piece, but those are not very good pieces, and Black king is in the middle. So, Black plays rook a7, getting away from this diagonal, and maybe at some point this rook can defend sideways. Let's look at a few other possible moves. Let's pretend Black grabs this pawn, which is sensible. Let's pretend knight takes. Now white has a really nice move, knight f7, sacrificing the knight. And the point is, if king takes, when we take here, we fork. And we get our material back, and Black king is still in the middle. Okay, let's pretend Black takes with the bishop and gets ready to castle. Well, we simply take. And let's pretend black castles, because he needs to. Okay, now we have a dangerous attack, queen h5, with a lot of pieces swarming around the king. Let's say g6. Now we can sacrifice. Knight takes. He cannot take with this pawn because of the spin. So pawn h-pawn takes, but there is still a pin. So queen takes. And king h8. Now this bishop comes. It's game over. Pawn blocks, checkmate. Because of this bishop. This demonstrates to you, or should demonstrate to you, how important it is to have a lead in development. Now let's go back. So black decide to play rook a7, but guess what? Niemann sacrifices anyway. Knight takes. This also opens up the bishop. King takes, and Niemann simply grabs the knight. He gained most of his material back. In fact, he has 3 pawns for a piece, so life is very good. Black grabs this pawn, getting ready to bring the rook. But now, of course, queen z5. The queen comes in. The knight for now defends this, of course, but this king is the one in trouble. Black played king e7, queen e5 check. If he goes somewhere here, we bring in the rook. If he blocks with the bishop, then the bishop doesn't defend the knight. Although, whenever we want, we can take and take here. This is also not fun. So black moved to f8. Again, if he goes to f7, we introduce the bishop. So very, very scary for the king. So he goes to f8. And Niemann simply brings in the rook. And the point is, we would like to play here. The knight covers this. But we can, so does the queen. But we have moves like this available. And we have moves like this available. And although, again, we are down material, we have a lot of pieces swarming around the king. Black played queen b6. It's hard to suggest an amazing move. Saving the rook, well, it's not good. If black saves the rook, there are many moves available. It's very hard to suggest what the simplest is. Probably bishop takes is good enough. Bishop takes. The point being is if black takes back, now we take here. I actually had in development, but the king is still being almost killed. Okay, black played queen b6 instead, which reinforces the bishop. Hans simply takes the rook. Black takes back. And Hans takes the knight, after which black resigned. Why did he resign? Well, this is coming. So if queen takes, he can do this first, he can do this. If bishop takes, it's even faster. Rook here, and this king is getting mated into moves. King moves, we check. King here, checkmate. Okay, so again, this is a Jobava London. It's more than just this trap. It's the idea of expanding on the kingside, which is what Niemann did. It makes black very reluctant to castle, so the king might stay in the middle. And then once the king is in the middle, Niemann ends up castling, ironically enough, castling short, despite the fact that he pushed the pawns. And then he successfully reaps open the middle. And again, very instructive. Remember, material is only one thing which is important. The king's safety is much more important than that. And Niemann demonstrates it brilliantly. I hope you enjoyed this game. Please like, please subscribe. I'll be back soon. Thank you.